I have two questions on two different subjects.
Okay.
First, this agreement to change the eligibility rules around the stimulus checks was something that got moderate Democrats on board. But are you concerned at all about the left on this? That they see this as negotiating against yourself, and maybe not living up to the promise that even the president was making in campaigning with the Georgia runoff candidates. Are you concerned that by cutting some people out of eligibility, that you're actually giving people? There are people who are not going to get checks who did get checks during the Trump administration, and that in some way is not living up to his political promises.
What the president promised and committed to was ensuring that the American people receive $2,000 in checks. This $1,400 is part of delivering on that promise. He also proposed, of course, a higher threshold, as you know, in his own proposal and his joint session speech that he delivered a couple of weeks ago. He has also been clear that he is open to changes on the margins of this package. While he is very firm on the $1,400, and as you know, there's been negotiations about trying to lower that to $1,000 or change the size of the check. He is unmovable on that, repeated that to me again this morning. And he has been very clear that the threshold should be at $75K and $150K for families. But he also knows that the sausage-making machine sometimes spits out a different package, almost always spits out a different package than what is proposed initially. These are negotiations primarily through Democrats in Congress with each other, but he's a part of, he rolls up his sleeves, he gets involved in them too, and, he's confident that this is a package with all of the components included and he's hopeful that Democrats of all political backgrounds can get behind.
So before the previous package passed, he was already talking about his hopes for this package. So before this package passed, I know you're not rolling out your bigger Build Back Better agenda, but are you already thinking, is the administration thinking maybe that another stimulus check will be needed at some point in the summer or fall for people?
Well, we're only 6 weeks in, so I can't predict for you there will never be stimulus checks in the future. Obviously, we're still in the midst of an economic crisis. That's the reason why the president has been clear about the urgency of acting here. The Build Back Better agenda, or more pieces of it, I'll just reiterate that the format, the order, the size of that has not been determined. And, there won't be more details that are finalized or previewed until after this bill is signed and the relief is getting to the American people. So we'll see what it looks like at that point in time. Obviously, we feel these checks and the components in the package, whether it's preventing 11 million people from being dropped from unemployment insurance, or essential funding to get schools open, or funding to increase vaccine distribution around the country, is essential to not just the crisis in this moment, but what we're facing and looking ahead to the coming months.
On another topic, is the administration providing assistance to Jackson, Mississippi for the water crisis there? Is that something that the president has been briefed on or will be briefed on, and sort of the equity issues around that as well?
Sure. I'm happy to ask our acting head of FEMA about that and where the status of that and where it sits, and I can get back to you directly, or others who are interested in that. Go ahead.
Yes, earlier this week you talked about a U.S. citizen named Sakulas, who now has diplomatic immunity, but people in Britain think she should come back to stand trial. You said earlier this week that she had been working during the prior administration, and I'm wondering if you can just clarify that. Does President Biden see the case of Sakulas in any different way than his predecessor does?
I think I was stating what is accurate, that she was working previously during the last administration. I think that's an accurate statement. And I was conveying that I think I asked the person who asked about it, I can't remember who it was, to go ask the State Department, because they would certainly oversee things like diplomatic immunity and all of the questions that were being asked around her case.
Sure, it was absolutely accurate. I'm just wondering why you brought